Governor Maura Healey issuing a state of emergency as more migrant families arrive in the Bay State. The state of emergency is necessary for families in need of shelter and services and a severe lack of shelter availability in the state. The governor saying, in part, state employees and our partners have been miracle workers throughout this crisis, going above and beyond to support families and using every tool at their disposal to expand shelter capacity by nearly 80% in the last year. There are currently nearly 5,600 families, or more than 20,000 individuals in state shelter, including children and pregnant women. We'll have more on this tonight on Western Mass News starting at 4 p.m.